Welcome to Florida Focus, a college football podcast. My name is Brandon. I'm a lifetime Seminole fan.
I am Chris, and I am a stupendous Gator fan.
Nice. And we are putting aside our differences as rivals to bring you the fantastic world of college football throughout the Sunshine State. I guess this is week 4, and we have a couple of games to talk about. Interesting episode for us because we had kind of a mixed bag, but as always, Chris, let's just go and get started. Florida wins at home against South Carolina. What you got?
Yeah. So we'll talk about the Gamecocks that we played first.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about yours. So this is a game, the home opener at the Swamp. Florida beat South Carolina 38-24, and this game played out exactly like the previous game versus Ole Miss. And I thought about it in my head. I was thinking about it in my head. And then Dan Mullins said it, but so he's going to get credit because we have documentation of him saying it. But in my mind, I'm going to give myself credit because I thought of it. Both games, Florida, it's a back and forth at first, trading shots. Then Florida separates for 2 quarters, and then they have to hold on for the fourth quarter. Okay. And the score makes it look a lot closer than the actual game was.
Yeah.
And so, same thing. Mullins did the same thing, and this is what happened here. And I'm like, are we going to do this all year? I really hope that we learn how to finish, because in the past we were pretty good at making adjustments at halftime and separating. And we're clearly the better team than South Carolina. And if you watch the game, we are. But, man, that fourth quarter, we just really, like 3 minutes left in the third and the fourth quarter, our defense kind of just let up, and our offense kind of let up and sputtered. But overall, it's a win, and a 2-touchdown win. We'll take it. We are happy. But some concerns for sure, and but also a lot of positives, which I'll talk about here at first.
Okay.
So the first thing I really was impressed by Dameon Pierce's running. They kind of, I don't want to say the word abandoned, but they didn't go to him in the second half, especially when we had the lead to help milk the clock. We're kind of passing it. But I liked his running. He's a hard guy to tackle. I'm really liking him as our running back 1. So impressed with him. He only had 51 yards, but he had a touchdown, our first touchdown. But he's a solid running back. As a whole, we ran for 80 yards, and I think that's good enough to win. As long as we stay around 80 yards, that's fine. If we start running, say 50 yards a game or less, then we're in trouble. But I think this is our offense. I think 80 yards in rushing is what we're going to get. If we get anything more than that, like we almost had 200 last week, that's a bonus. But I think 80 is safe. So yeah. I was pleased with Pierce there. Obviously, Kyle to Kyle, that connection is going to go on all year. Trask looked pretty good. His pocket presence is something that I'm really liking. Knowing when to just step up or shift to the right or left, depending on where the pressure is. And Kyle Pitts, again, he's tough to match up against because he can go in tight on the line, and you can spread him far out. And you'd have to shift around safeties and corners and linebackers.
I'm still getting used to that. That is a really weird concept.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's like a lot of NFL teams do that, but I just don't see that in college.
Yeah, and I think his second touchdown, he just lined up wide right and just did like a slant, in the end zone. And it's happened. And there's one play, I think the first quarter, he lined up wide right, went down the field and Trask to his back shoulder and he caught it. And I'm like, that's wide receiver stuff.
Yeah.
But I think there was one guy who votes for the Mackey Award last year didn't put Kyle Pitts even anywhere on the list because he said he wasn't a true tight end. And Pitts even has said over the offseason that kind of motivated him. But I mean, I get it. He's rare, He's different. But seeing that connection, But one thing that we didn't go to him the second half either. Well, but I'll get into that with our improvements. But
Okay.
again, so Kyle Pitts had 6 touchdowns on the year already in 2 games, which is impressive. Trask has thrown 10 touchdowns in 2 games, and we're looking at some stats earlier where between Tebow and Trask, only a handful of guys have thrown 10 touchdowns all year.
Right.
And so he's done it in 2 games. So he's on fire. So that's good. But I'm really liking, it's not just Trask and Pitts. You're seeing our skill position guys get a lot of play. Trask threw to 9 different receivers. And I think it was like the second drive of the game, Mullen rotated in the second string, if you will, receivers, and they played the whole time. You see this where some teams will rotate in D linemen, all like a kind of like a hockey, like a line shift,
Right.
like all 4. Mullen's doing that with receivers now. His top 3 receivers go out, and the next 3 will go in. And so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to see that we have depth at receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Pitts is going to get the targets. Kadarius Toney's obviously a playmaker, and Grimes is pretty good. But then you have a guy like Copeland, Justin Shorter, and Trent Whittemore coming in and stepping up. And I must say, I'm not big on name drops, but I will name drop right now. It was pretty cool to see Trent get his first touchdown as a Gator because I actually know Trent and his family. I've known them for quite some time now. And I've known him when he was a little kid, and him talking about the Gators. And whenever I would go to their house, we would eventually end up talking Gator football. So it was a pretty special moment seeing him score a touchdown.
Excellent.
It's pretty cool because I just know him and his family. His mom played volleyball at UF. His dad was a high school coach there in Gainesville, and I know that meant a lot to him and his family. So that was pretty cool. So I'm gonna stop name dropping it and move on with the with the analysis there. I'm really pleased with what I saw on offense. Some improvements that need to be made in the second half, but we saw for a stretch there, second and third quarter, where it was clearly we could do whatever we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
We could do whatever we wanted to, and we saw that in Ole Miss. We're seeing that with this game. What are your thoughts so far?
Like you alluded to, just complete control of the game, a lot of confidence. I think even dating back to the beginning of Mullen's tenure, they're the second and third quarter type of team, and that continues to be the case. Kyle Trask is extremely efficient. I think people look at the flash plays, and I'm just like, he just continues to move the ball down the field. The consistency at quarterback is amazing. You're right to see. I think Kadarius Toney had like 6 catches and a touchdown. Wanting to get the end zone all the time. This guy can break loose at any time. I think South Carolina just kind of gave up doing kickoffs to him. They just said, "Forget it."
They did.
Try.
You're right.
Yeah.
He hasn't hurt him. He did have one pretty decent run, but I think he's going to get one this year. I just feel it. Like he's so close and dangerous.
Sure.
So that was good. Pretty much the same old for the offense. Defense, I think we improved a little bit. Aside from the fourth quarter, which we'll talk about, I think you saw some improvement on defense. Zach Carter got the SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week. He had a couple of tackles for loss, including maybe a sack and a half, I believe. And so he's a guy that we're looking to fill in at defensive end. He bulked up and kind of moved inside, but he got some pressure on Kyer Elam, a guy that last week I said I kind of was underwhelmed by him. He kind of stepped up, made some plays there. He improved. You definitely see having Sean Davis play the whole game, our starting safety. He made some pretty important tackles, especially early on, to set the tone. I think Kyer Elam, and Zach Carter all led the team with 8 total tackles. So that was good to see. It was good to see them some bright spots. And you saw Jaden Hill, a young corner, struggled a little bit against Ole Miss. He started, or I think he's going to start this coming week, but he got some playing time opposite of Elam, and that moved Marco Wilson to the star nickel position. But Marco's still a little bit rusty in coverage. He's just still not 100% to what we saw prior to his injury a couple years ago. And then Ventrell Miller, a middle linebacker, still a solid performance by him. So I saw some improvement. Now, a lot of Gator fans, it's not going to be enough for them. It's not enough improvement. And I get it. I totally get it. If you want to compete against Georgia, if you want to be in the SEC championship, probably against Alabama, the next level, the playoffs, you're going to have better defense than we did.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to have to. This will win you some games. This is going to win you games. This is a good enough defense now while we have this explosive offense. But there's going to be a game where our offense doesn't show up, or they get shut down,
mm-hmm.
or they're just not clicking, and the defense is going to have to win. So I saw some improvement, but it's probably not as much as a lot of people wanted, especially the irate and Gator fans out there.
Well, I wonder how much this defense is really missing C.J. Henderson. That is starting to rear its ugly head, I think, with some early secondary concerns. I mean, thank goodness South Carolina just took their sweet time. We're like, I got the ball with 8 minutes left. I only have to score once, right? Okay, cool. So I can just not go out of bounds. I can not call timeouts. And luckily for Florida, they dropped a touchdown on 4th down. It was wide open. Otherwise, it's a 7-point game, and the perception looks completely different on how the outcome actually was. On
that drive, I think there was 2 drop passes, but one in the end zone.
Yeah.
At the end there, yeah. So it's improving, but it's just still not where I guess we're used to be. But I think we're just gonna have to. I think this is who we are. Honestly, this is just who we are. And when Henderson went out, I believe it was last year, maybe the year before. But the games that he was out, you knew, you noticed that he was out. It was apparent that guy was not there. And a lot of people thought that Elam was going to fill that spot, and then Marco, we thought that was going to be solid. Well, Elam's still kind of working. This is his first year as the starter, as the man. And Marco, he's still shaking off rust from that injury. So, sad to say, but this is who we are, I think. Now, Brad Stewart and Kyrie Campbell, those are the big mysteries. They were on the depth chart, but not in the game, and Mullins being coy about them, so who knows. I think they'll help. I don't think they're going to be the savior, just destroy everybody, but I think they're just experienced depth for sure. But it was good. It was good they had Sean Davis and Jeremiah Moon, and we saw that. I think at least we took a step in the right direction, but I think people wanted a leap in the right direction.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the negatives, we'll run down the areas of improvement. Offense, Kyle Trask has to. He's as great a quarterback as he is in the pocket presence. He had 2 turnovers. He threw a pick and he fumbled the ball there. And that's something that you've seen with him is ball security when he does scramble. He's a willing runner, which I really like. But the Ole Miss game, he fumbled. Thankfully, we recovered. This game, he fumbled and we didn't. That's one knock on him is that when he runs or gets pressured, he needs to hold on to the ball. So he's got to work on that. I didn't like how we just abandoned the run in the 4th quarter when we had the lead. We had, I think, 2 drives in the 4th quarter on offense. 1 3-and-out, mostly pass. I think 2 or 3 passes, and 1 interception. So David Pierce was running hard and was doing well, and Malik Davis is back there too. So, and another thing, we didn't see Emory Jones. I think that might have been a good spot for him to run the ball out, run the game out, put the running quarterback in. So I would have liked the offense to finish better in the game there. And, and some of the receivers had some drop passes too. I know Grimes had 1. So drop passes there. On defense, the story was they just couldn't get off the field. They could not get off the field. Third downs, some fourth downs in the fourth quarter that they just could not get off the field. And I think South Carolina, I could be wrong on this. I saw a stat they ran like 30 more plays than us or something like that. And just saw everybody's let off the gas in the fourth quarter.
Actually,
Again, against
that
South
sounds
Carolina,
right.
you can. Yeah.
I didn't realize there's that many more, but they do slow down the pace, and you guys score quick, so I guess that counts for that.
Right. And against South Carolina, you can get away with that, but I'm just looking down the season.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of other people too, and it's a bit of a concern.
Yeah. Well, I think we can all agree that SEC East is kind of bottom heavy, and so you can kind of experiment with the game type of play against a team like South Carolina.
Yeah.
So maybe let's hope that that's what the Gators are doing.
Yeah, hopefully.
I can't know for sure, but yeah, I think I agree with most of that. I think that Muschamp really kind of schemes his offense to score off of defensive opportunities. So I'm pretty sure they scored 2 touchdowns off of those 2 turnovers, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, they're not built to drive the long field, as was evident by the end of the game.
Yeah.
Which came with 0 points. So, I personally don't think that 30 more plays is terrible. The reason I'm saying that is because Wake Forest, I think, 2 seasons ago, averaged like 100 plays a game, which was number 1 pace in the nation. It's still a 7-8 win team.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I guess the way it ended just left a sour taste in our mouth.
It did feel weird, didn't it?
Yeah. Kind of same thing with Ole Miss. They had that late score and almost another late score. It's kind of like, we're the better team, but man, it just doesn't feel, Yeah. But hey, I'll take it to win. And 2-0.
Nice.
Go Gators.
All right, cool. I like it. Nothing else to add. Good special teams. I always like to mention that.
Right.
McPherson's still on track.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, nice observation. Totally didn't catch that. You played the Gamecocks, and so did Florida State.
Yeah.
Nice one. So, Jacksonville State at home. Nice, comfortable win. No reason to worry at all, right? Well, maybe there was at first. Obviously, you go down 14-0 really quick. Mm-hmm. And then 21-7. Not too much further after that. And then the alarm bells start to go off in your head. You're like, oh, no, Here we go again.
Right.
You bring in Tate Rodemaker. I mean, this guy was playing in Valdosta, Georgia, 8 months ago, high school football. Mm-hmm. You decide to start him. By the way, only the 4th true freshman quarterback started a game at Florida State, ever. That didn't last long. His 3rd pass of the game, he throws a pick 6.
Right.
Then we drive down the field, miss a field goal. So already Jacksonville State knows what they have to do, and they know why they're there. And they took an early lead and didn't look concerned. Our defense just continues to worry. The defensive line is supposed to be the strength, and that didn't really catch on until the offense really, really got fired up. So Jordan Travis comes in. The joke has been, can this guy even throw the ball? Because all he does is run like this wing formation rushing attack. But he comes in and 5 straight touchdowns on 5 drives. He threw a long pass to Helton, who got the first touchdown of the game. Then we score another touchdown to set a season high in points at 14. Yeah. We had it by halftime. And then I guess something in the locker room just snapped with these guys. They came out angry. I think we scored in 4 plays. Long bomb to Marion Terry. Where's he been all season? Finally he's back. Right. And we were off to the races. Tied the game. Went down. We only held Jacksonville State to 3 points the rest of the game. Although they did try to score at the very end. And Florida State wins 41-24. I was projecting mid-30s at the highest for us, so this is pleasing to see. We got about 6 more touchdown-ish, better than I thought we'd perform.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, not a whole lot to comment here. You got a lot of guys from the rushing attack. I think we ended up with 250-something rushing yards. I guess I should put an asterisk on everything with, this is an FCS team. This is an FCS team. I think you and I both know that. But given the state of Florida State football, this is a huge win. Florida State snapped a 4-game losing streak. Most people forget about that. We lost to Alabama State was our last win. We haven't beat a decent team since, I don't know, maybe Boston College early November of last year.
Right.
So the wins have been hard to get. And so it's a good day to celebrate. Good to see Tofili. Yes, the A is silent.
Okay.
He was special. We saw in camp. This guy had flashes. You also have Webb and Corbin. Webb was a little bit better than Corbin. Corbin's the transfer for Texas A&M. He's kind of the guy you would think Norvell would hitch his wagon to. SEC running back, lightning speed, but just got injured and had to sit out a season. Decides to transfer. And you couple all that with Jordan Travis and the fact that he does throw the ball and now he does show a threat to go downfield. Hey, you're good. So I'm very pleased there. The defense finally started to catch on, but still some woes there. If you delete the pick six, they only give up 17, so that's not terrible. But against an FCS team, you want to try and hold them maybe 7 or 10. Yep. So
yeah. Go ahead.
Now I was gonna say I usually do the positives, the opportunities, and the observations. POO. Who? Opportunities. I think I pretty much covered it there. Observations. They finally fixed all the physical distancing and mask wearing in the stands, which I was very happy about.
Right.
And after we go down 21-7, then all the people start to really throw out all those Twitter stats and all of that, and they're like, "Oh no, here we go." And I was like, "Well, it wasn't an easy win. I'm not gonna say that, but we won comfortably, so I'll take it."
Yeah, it's got to feel good to get like something go right, because like you said, the 4-game losing streak, Georgia Tech get beat by a rival. Norvell had COVID. Bobby Bowden now has COVID.
Yep.
So just nothing seems to be going right, and then this first half is going horrible. But like you said, something happened at halftime. They came out, I guess, angry, and they just pulled away, and they realized, hold up, you're Jacksonville State. We're Florida State. It's good to see Travis. I don't know if it was an injury because of Blackman didn't play or coaching decision, but obviously I think Travis was the guy that a lot of people were, until Purdy gets there, like just saying, just put him in. He's our best chance. And he proved him right. The rushing attack, 263 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Wonderful.
And that just shows, hey, we have the better team. We have the better talent. And we're just gonna just pound you and beat you. So that's a positive. And again, Asante Samuel, 9 tackles, leading the team. He is the star of the team so far on defense, filling in that natural Dean spot until he gets back.
Yeah, crazy to see because obviously I think Marvin Wilson's that guy, and
right.
Wilson just not quite there yet.
No.
I have all the confidence that it's eventually going to get there. I think the thing that Florida State fans may easily forget is these bad seasons, we've started slower than we've finished. I think at one point, one season, we were 2-5, or we were just, you already have 2 losses coming out of the first month or something crazy, or you don't look good. So this is a high point here. Oh, maybe medium point is more
would go
more accurate. But Jordan Travis named the starter against Notre Dame. That makes sense. With Blackman, they say it was an injury / they're not really clarifying. So take your best guess. It could be performance related. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the real reason.
Yeah.
But Jordan Travis wasn't totally sure he was going to play either in this game, and I think we can all agree that's a good thing he did. Roadmaker's just still got a lot to figure out. As some people would say, you got to slow the game down for him. And
that
moving too fast.
interception he threw, I don't know what he was thinking. That guy was right there.
He just
didn't. Right there.
I don't know how you didn't see him, but again,
right.
Playing in high school a few months ago, that guy is not that quick.
Yeah.
By the way, the guy that caught that, don't know his name. He's a transfer from Auburn. And Jacksonville State had some decent D1 transfers. Cooper, the quarterback for Jacksonville State, is a transfer from Clemson, who they say might have taken the job if Trevor Lawrence hadn't shown up. So, they have a pretty decent team, and they're just FYI, a lot of those FCS schools that play these D1 teams, they're playing like 2 to 4 games now, and then the rest of their season in the spring.
What?
Yeah, it's really odd. So it's
because they gotta get that money, right?
Yep, get that paycheck from that school.
Okay.
Go take your L on the road, and then go back and win the Ohio Valley Conference.
Right. Wow, that's nuts.
Yeah,
it was a crazy game. Tale of 2 halves.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you got to feel some relief that hey, we got not only a literal win, but just a win
Sure.
for the program.
Yes. And actually, down 21-7, and as soon as we went down and scored quickly, I was like, okay, I feel better. We're going to turn this around. And then when we came out of the locker room and it was tied 21, I said, we're going to win now.
Mm-hmm.
I knew right then.
Yeah. Once they got some confidence.
Yep.
And hopefully it'll take it into the next. I don't know about the next game, but at least the rest of the season.
Yeah, fingers crossed that it keeps going. That's the biggest thing with this is creating that momentum.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, that wraps up the Noles victory. Real quick, UCF. Ugh.
Yeah.
Knights lose at home to Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
First home loss since 2016 for the Knights. Their last home loss, also Tulsa.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It's funny how those things bookend. And a game that just, again, another weird one, right?
That's the understatement of the year.
Both teams
game.
got a safety in the first half.
Yeah.
UCF led 23-5 at one point.
So.
Normal football numbers that you're used to seeing. Right. And it was right at the end of the second quarter. I have a thought about weird scores in a second. Let me finish this thought, and I'll get back to you. 23-5, and at the end of the second quarter, you think, okay, UCF's cruising to a pretty easy victory here. Well, then the rain stopped. Then you had tons of penalties. Tulsa figured out to throw the deep ball to Stokes, and I forget the other wide receiver's name. So they score a quick touchdown before half, 23-12. Opening kickoff second half, UCF fumbles. Tulsa scores in one play. So all of a sudden it's 23-19. So, okay, this is happening. UCF only scores 3 points in the second half. What's the one question I always ask myself if a team is doing well on offense? How many points do you score in the second half? For UCF in this game, it was 3. And Tulsa just figured it out. They started running the ball. The deep pass got to the secondary. Mm-hmm. UCF could not step out of their own way. They are... I saw some stats here run. They are on pace, as of 3 games in, to set a new NCAA record for average penalties per game.
Really?
I mean, this was, like, I think, 18 penalties.
Yeah.
At home. And the previous week, I think it was 12 or 13.
Right.
It's just insane. But anyway, they lose 34-26. Got to hang on and try and win the American now. Got to beat Cincinnati, Memphis. Probably both, I would assume. Memphis did lose to SMU last week, so. But yeah, very disappointing for the Knights.
Yeah, it was definitely a strange game. Not just the score was weird at halftime, and then you just saw Tulsa. They wanted to be there. It seemed like UCF didn't want to be in the game. Second half, I don't know what it was, but Tulsa just ran all over them, passed all over them. They just wanted it more, and only to put up 3 points in the second half. You're not going to win ball games. You're just not.
Yep.
And then to add on to the weirdness, you had I believe it was a third quarter where a player went down. It looked like it was a serious injury.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That was kind of weird how, with the rain and everything, then now just this long stoppage of play. There was a one play where some guy tossed someone's helmet after and got a penalty. Like, that was an unnecessary penalty by UCF. And at the very end of the game, the pass, some player got knocked out. So it was a very, very strange game. And UCF does this at least once a year, where they just lay an egg. And sometimes they pull it out, but sometimes they just like, nope. And it's like the UCF team I saw 2 weeks before, is totally different than the UCF team that we see in this game. And I don't know what it is. They got to figure that out, because every year they do something like this.
Yes, they can't be mood swingy like this.
Right.
Last year, that game was Tulsa on the road. They lost by 3. Tulsa only won 3 or 4 games last year. So maybe we have to reevaluate Tulsa. Tulsa,
Yeah.
they only lost Oklahoma State, the only undefeated team left in the Big 12, like 16-7.
Mhm.
So, yeah, who knows? Maybe they're going to make a run. I don't think that's the case. I think UCF just beat themselves.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not a UCF thing. Maybe it's a Tulsa thing. We got to figure out. Talk to their defensive coordinator.
Randy Shannon needs to
maybe
get
we-
on it
can
because
we-
usually his system and his I'm going to go after the ball really fits with the offense, but when they just can't get out of their own way, it's just. And the other thing is
Yeah.
the defense was winning early on. Tulsa's first 5 possessions were turnover, safety, turnover, punt, punt, punt. It's
Right.
not. I don't think that's the right order, but that's what the first 5 went.
Mhm.
Just nuts. Just really weird. It just
Yeah.
felt like a vibey upset game, and it was.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, watching on TV, I felt it. I mean, you were there. Did you feel it too?
Yeah,
Like
I did.
as it was going on. Yeah.
I started to get real quiet in the third quarter. I was like, "This is going
This is
south."
not good. This is not good.
Yep.
I hate that feeling. I hate that. I know that. I think it was 09 Arkansas game that you were with me.
Oh yeah.
The Gators were playing Arkansas, and we pulled it out, but it was just like that weird, like we're better, but man, they're just hanging around the whole game.
Yep.
It's a weird feeling.
It is indeed. So we won't have to mention the Knights later because they have next week off. So they're gonna hopefully fix some things.
Right.
Then briefly, South Florida did what South Florida does. They lost by 21 to Cincinnati. Cincinnati, a good team, so
Yeah.
this is not terrible here. But the Bulls need to figure out some offense. Still only 7 points, and they just really even didn't score a lot against Citadel. They got shut out against Notre Dame, and that's going to be their Achilles heel the rest of the season.
Right. Yeah, I mean, since he scored, it was at halftime. They're down 14-0. Like,
Yeah,
if you're South Florida, it's a good position to be in.
sure.
But then they score again in the third, and then typical South Florida fashion, South Florida gets a touchdown in the third, and then they give up a kickoff return
Another
for a
special
touchdown.
teams, yeah.
Right after. So all that hard work they got for that touchdown, then they give up one right after that. So that's
And-
South Florida for you.
Yeah, that seems to be their MO this season. Even if it gets Citadel, which tells me that's how it's going to go the rest of the year.
Mhm.
3 quarterbacks kind of get some play in here. McLeod, I think Jeff Scott knows isn't the answer,
Yeah.
and he's just trying to figure some things out. But when you throw 5 interceptions, you're not going to move anywhere.
Yeah. Ugh, that's a big number.
Yeah. Yep. So-
Yeah, no, you're right. Offenses, they got to do something.
Yep.
Something. And then the only other one was FAU got a victory versus Charlotte. Willie gets his first game
Yeah.
with all the delays and his first victory
Yeah. Good for them.
with the Owls. Interesting, with one of the stats I like to look at. They won 21-17. They did all their scoring in the third quarter.
Oh yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. They shut out Charlotte in the third. They outscored them 21-0 in the third to get the victory there. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that they still have like McCammon and their rushing attack. Their quarterback rushed for 94 yards and threw for 98. So, yeah, pretty balanced. You got to give him that. He's you don't see that very often. I mean, it's not very high numbers.
Right.
But yeah, it's good to see a lot of talent. It's good to see Tiger, start off on their right foot with a new school.
Mhm.
It's definitely been an unusual way to get there because they have just through unfortunate circumstances with COVID just haven't been able to play yet. And Charlotte's normally a pretty decent team. I know they're 0-2 now, but they usually play in Conference USA pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, not much else to say. Good win for them. Good win for Taggart.
Absolutely.
All right. So this week's slate of games, and so we have all but UCF playing right this week.
Correct.
Yeah. So we'll start with the Gators, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead, sir.
Going on the road to Texas A&M, and this is one of those games that was added on to the schedule once they reshuffled stuff. And And this one game, I'll go down through the are things I like and things that concern me. But this game, I'm just going back and forth, even to the minute, of who to pick because was in a preseason the game I thought that we were going to lose. I feel a little bit better now, just after seeing both of them. I like the fact that our offense is clicking. Normally going into A&M, the crowd, I think it's going to be a huge factor. But now with the restrictions, I think going on the road isn't as hard in general to win. They're still going to have a lot of fans there. Still going to be noisy. I am curious now. They like to do a lot of swaying. How that's going to work during the game. The fans, that is. And going back to Florida, I forgot to ask people that were there. At the end of the third quarter, they lock arms and they sway, and we're the boys of Florida, and I wonder how they did that. But anyways, but I digress.
Yeah.
But on the field. So things I like, obviously, our offense. So far, our O-line's been doing well, keeping Trask upright. This is probably the biggest test so far for our O-line. So I'm curious to see how they do. Because A&M, they're a tough team to read because they had a close game against a not good Vanderbilt team. And they let Alabama score a bunch of points on them, and they looked okay, but Alabama tends to do that to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I can't really say, they just got whooped by Alabama. It's like Alabama whoops a lot of people. So I can't figure them out, But I do like our weapons on offense. And I think I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's just going to be a shootout because I don't know if they can stop our offense, and I don't know if we can stop their offense. So I think a defensive interception, big sack, whatever, something like that is going to be the key of the game. I do like our coaching. Jimbo, though, he knows Florida. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I think we're far enough removed where I don't know if he knows our personnel and all that stuff. And he didn't ever play Dan Mullen. So so I think it helps. He had the fortune of playing or coaching against Muschamp and McElwain. So I feel a little bit better about that. I don't know about A&M's defense. Alabama put a bunch of points on them, but what was happening was they got beat by the deep ball from Alabama, which, hey, we got guys that can do that. So that makes me feel real good. Things that do concern me, though, with A&M, we're not having consistent pass rush. We've had some here and there, but with Kellen Mond, he's a really good he doesn't like to run, but he's a real capable runner at quarterback. And he'll have a game where he'll do nothing, and then have a game where he'll throw 5 touchdowns. I don't know which Mon is going to show up, but our pass rush has to be there to confuse him. One thing that does concern me, though, A&M's running back Smith, he's not their main guy, he's their second guy, but watching that game against Alabama, he scored 2 touchdowns coming out of the backfield as a receiver. And if I look at who could potentially cover him, I don't really see anybody. I mean, I don't see any linebackers that can run with him. Amari Burney, we thought was going to be the guy. He's underplaying. Ventrell Miller is going to be the middle linebacker, but he's better at rushing. I don't know. I don't trust maybe Sean Davis as our safety, but Steiner, no, I don't trust him. So I don't know who's going to cover him going out of the backfield. So he really, really scares me. So having said all that, it's going to be a high-scoring one. But I mean, I'm leaning, and I'm slightly leaning for Florida, just because I trust Mullen and having his team ready. But I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I say Florida 41, A&M 38.
Okay.
I do like our special teams. I don't know much about A&M's, but I do like our special teams. seem pretty solid, which kind of helps push me in that direction.
Yeah, the line here is almost perfect, 6.5 plus for Texas A&M, and
Yeah.
them getting you at home is it's I don't know if it's the biggest advantage here, but it's close. Yeah, with A&M, they're hard to read. Why are you going to squeak out one against Vandy? Vandy's clearly the worst
Right.
in the SEC. And, I mean, I was kind of disappointed they didn't even make it respectable with Alabama. I know that Saban just has some kind of vengeance against former assistants, and he's looked at the stat, and he's probably tired of seeing it or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
But, man, to give up, 52, 55, whatever it was, it's kind of silly. I couldn't remember, by the way, if Jimbo had actually coached Florida since he left Florida State. I guess the answer is no.
Yeah, just missed. Yeah, because Mullen was at Mississippi State. Yeah.
Just one loss to the Gators, but I mean, different situations. The Gator team at the time was a little bit of a transition, we'll call it. So with what he has now, I think it really helps Florida that they pass the ball a lot.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about, hey, I'd love you to run the ball. I think slowing the game down against a Jimbo offense is probably a bad idea. You want to pass and move it as quickly as possible because they're going to operate at a screeching halt, NFL tempo, 13 to 15 possessions max. So this is the game where you want to pass a lot. And I I liked your observation, and I don't want to pick here, but I think you're right in that if the Gator defense plays like they have been, Texas A&M's offense will look better than they really are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you convinced me that that's how this game will probably look. I'm trying to get a score prediction here. I'll take Texas A&M to cover the spread but lose. I'll take the Gators 38-31. Does that cover it? No, 38-32. There you go.
Yeah.
2-point conversion or something.
32. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, this was a really tough one. I'm going back and forth. If someone came out and said A&M's going to win, I mean, I think they're crazy.
Yeah. They would have to improve and show
tough.
some stuff they haven't shown yet to beat Florida. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I have no doubt they have the tools. But I don't think they put it together.
Yeah, I think that we, as a whole, understand who we are. I think they're still trying to figure it out. But I think I would be shocked if it's a defensive struggle. I'd just be shocked. So, if it is a defensive struggle, I don't know who wins that one. I do like our special teams, though.
Yeah, Tony adds a different layer.
Yeah, and McPherson's solid.
True.
But I'm going to go Gators. Gators by 3 in a high-scoring one.
All right. I think we both agree. The Florida State game is another one we're going to agree on. FSU traveling up to South Bend, and Florida State will not win this game. Even if their offense keeps going and we rush the ball, 200-plus yards, good. We've built on it. We've built the next step. We're going to the next level to improve under Norvell. Notre Dame just too good. I was trying to think of, is there any way Florida can keep it close? If their COVID scare kind of weakened their depth chart and there's some injuries, maybe. Florida State went to South Bend 2 years ago on senior night. They were pursuing a national title run. I think that's even the year they went to the playoff. And FSU, just with Francois, had nothing going. And I think they scored on defense the second play of the game. It was already over at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, fortunately, NBC and the other media have the 90s to go back to when Florida State played them in 93 to hype this game up because there's nothing this year. There's nothing. There just isn't. First game day, it was really big back then, 1 versus 2. But that was 25, 28 years ago.
Yeah.
Very different teams now. Notre Dame covers 21. I think Florida State, the goal here is score 24. I think if you can get to that point, don't know much about Notre Dame's defense. They surprisingly got a reasonable contest versus Duke, but that was Duke's best game this year. Duke's gone on, and they still haven't won a game. And so, Duke looked better than they probably should have, and maybe it's just rust. Don't know.
Right.
But I think FSU, if you keep the rushing attack open and you add some wrinkles in, you can still get to 24 points.
Right. Yeah, I think Notre Dame wins. I think Florida State's going to play a lot better than we think. They don't have the horses that can go 4 quarters with them. But I think Travis, being the quarterback, is going to give them some confidence. Now Notre Dame has to look at his film versus Blackman's. And as far as the score, I say obviously Notre Dame, I think is going to win. I don't think they cover, though.
Okay.
I think Florida State has some confidence. I don't think they get to the 24 mark. I'm going to go 35-17 Notre Dame.
Okay.
Did you have a score?
I'm going to go 41-21.
Okay, right on there.
So, yeah, but 21 points is hard to cover. I know the problem here is Florida State's defense is just going to give up a ton of yardage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I keep saying, there can be some kind of click, there can be some kind of unleashing of the monster with defense, and you can make it competitive.
Right.
But I haven't seen that happen yet.
Right.
It needs to be coupled with an offense that's potent and moving the ball down the field and giving them time to rest, and a defense that doesn't give up penalties. But we do get, I think Travis J is supposed to be back, so maybe in the secondary he adds an extra layer of special teams. Although Helton did have some really decent returns on kickoffs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kando did make some promising plays against Jacksonville State, so maybe he starts to fill the middle of the gap there. But without Nazrul Dean, I just don't see a way they can get him slowed down, and he's not back yet. So
yeah. Another thing that goes against Florida State too, Notre Dame, I believe they had their game postponed last week.
Right, they were off.
So they have an extra bye week essentially before Florida State.
Right.
Does not help.
Yeah, I don't know how much they practice with testing and all that, but yeah, that still. And your last opponent for that was South Florida, who you shut out. Yeah. So
a week of not getting hit versus
right, sure.
Florida State who played a game, so it helps. Notre Dame. So is that 7? It's a night game.
Yep, 7:30 NBC. Which I love their coverage, by the way. So I get some really good broadcasters. They're my favorite.
Yeah, like we were saying off air, like I've had some issues with finding the Florida State game this year. So.
Yeah.
No one have to worry about this time.
A throwback to the Sun Sports in the Raycom days when
right.
we had to really dig for
it. Oh, yeah. I had to deal with that this past weekend, so I won't have to this weekend also.
So I'm hoping Chris Collinsworth, hey, I like him, he's a Gator, is the commentator because his Sunday Night Football coverage is fantastic.
Yeah, I like him too.
Love it.
Good call.
Yeah. Let's see. UCF's off. South Florida.
Oh, before that, let's talk about big matchup in the ACC.
Oh, yeah.
Miami and Clemson. And this game, this is going to see who is... well, first, this game is going to see, is Miami for real, right? Are they... Because they looked good, they've been on prime time, but their opponents, they weren't Clemson.
Nope.
And
they
so,
were Florida State.
Yeah. I was just going to say they weren't Clemson. I was going to let you go that route.
Appreciate that.
It was going to be a nice rival. See if Derek King can continue his season. Seemed like they found a guy in Harris in the backfield. Obviously, Brevin Jordan rounding out the triplets there. They've seemed pretty good on defense. Clemson seems like they're rolling, though. I think one thing that helps Miami is that they had a bye week. But Clemson seems like Clemson.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence is having a solid season. Etienne, not as many rushing yards and touchdowns as I thought he would, but he's still a problem in the backfield.
Sure.
So this is going to be an interesting one. And it's prime time too, which is cool. But I believe it's the third game day that Miami will be a part of.
Sure. Yes, sure is.
So they play some pretty, I would say, high-profile teams, but without the Big Ten and the Pac-12, you kind of limited a little bit where game name's going to be. But this one's a deserved, I think. I'm going to Clemson.
Yeah, I think Miami's definitely turned the corner, but just too much Tigers. I really think Clemson wins this one pretty easily.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think like 48-24-ish. The Tigers just assert dominance. We've seen what they've done in the ACC, and I can only tell you, when's the last time they lost an ACC game? 2017,
Ooh.
they got upset by Syracuse. Or 18, they lost
Oh,
to
yeah.
Pittsburgh. That's it. They've lost 2 ACC games the last 4 seasons.
Man.
Now, the Miami crossover is interesting. They don't play them every year.
Right.
And good for the ACC to get some decent teams at the top that are still undefeated.
Right.
And you're right. Get the game day. We now know Louisville. That was kind of a mistake, but
Yeah.
whatever. You didn't have much. So look for Clemson to get up pretty early.
Okay.
I think they're probably in control by the end of the third quarter, maybe early fourth.
Right.
And we'll kind of see from there. But just still too much talent. Travis Etienne is edging on like ACC records. He's already passed like school records. He's like NCAA records level. He just scores that much. And he has so much trouble. I think De'Aaron King will really get neutralized in this game for much longer. He might start to get frustrated and make mistakes.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, it's interesting. For a top 10 matchup, the spread is 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's maybe an indication of what you're saying. Miami, although good and better, just a whole nother level. I think it's going to go a little bit closer. I don't think Miami can. Yeah, maybe they might pull it off. I say Clemson by like 10.
Oh, Miami covers spread. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
think Miami covers the spread.
Let's hope for the viewership.
I think they're going to give them a fight. They're going to give them a fight. I think Clemson's. It's going to be one of those like it's going to be a 2-score lead the whole game, and they're going to fight to get back. But Clemson just like, okay, you scored. Well, we're going to go down and score now. It's be one of those.
Backdoor cover late. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope for viewership that is the case, and I know that the media really wants Miami to be back, and the ACC needs some other top tier teams to challenge Clemson. They just do.
Right.
And I think that eventually they will, just not yet.
Right. Exactly.
All right. And so South Florida hosting East Carolina. Not going to hear me say this very often, Chris. I'm taking the Bulls to win a game.
Okay.
East Carolina is the worst team in the American Conference.
They're not good at football.
They got beat really bad by UCF, which you expect, but then they lost by 20 to Georgia State.
Right.
Colton Nailors, their quarterback at ECU, he's like that Nick Fitzgerald, Mississippi State. Like, he is the offense. He runs and he passes, and he's equal. He's going to get about 150 yards each, but they're not going to score. Mm-hmm. Their defense can't stop anybody. Georgia State at Coverage USA put 48 on them. That's bad.
Yeah.
And so South Florida will do whatever they can to win this game because they're favored by 4.5. Crazy to think that's true. And you're just only going to see that 2 or 3 times this year. Jeff Scott's got to take his shot now, and I think he does. I think the Bulls win.
Yeah. I agree. This is, I'm a stat guy. This is my stat so far. Points allowed by East Carolina so far, 50. They average giving up 50.
Ooh.
Points for UCF, 11. So something's got to give.
Man.
One team that only scores 11 points a game versus a team that gives up 50. It's 2 games, but still 50.
What a pillow fight. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious.
But I think South Florida squeaks it out just because East Carolina's worse. Not because South Florida's good.
Yeah. Now, because of East Carolina being able to move the ball a lot, I would not be surprised if they make this a game. Heck, I wouldn't be totally surprised if they win.
Right.
But I think the Bulls have this one circled. They have something ready in the tank in the reserve. And believe it or not, I think they have the athletes to match up against ECU. I'm just laughing at myself. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. Because the Bulls are just so bad this year. Anyway.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say it's tied. It's tied, but South Florida kicks the last second field goal. Win by 3.
Okay. It might be one of the few field goals they make this year because their kicking team's been really bad. But I think this might be one of those like first to 24 wins kind of deal. Mm-hmm. So
I was thinking 20-17.
You could, yeah.
I was thinking that range.
Maybe East Carolina turns the ball over. maybe South Florida gets another special teams touchdown.
Yeah.
And that's how East Carolina scores. Anyway, I hate to laugh at the Bulls, but I just can't. I can't help it.
I mean, they're at that point, so
Yeah.
we're not we're not alone.
Yeah.
In life to get to.
Let's see who else we got. Florida Atlantic goes to Southern Miss. Any
Yeah.
thoughts there?
I don't know too much about Southern Miss, other than just kind of who they've played. They beat North Texas, but they lost to Tulane 66-24.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess I'm going to go slight just by just stats and records. I'm going to go Owls. I think they're favored by 2.5.
That's what I saw.
Yeah. So, yeah. They played a game. They got to win. They're going to win this one, too.
This will be a close one. I think, much like the other teams that have had a slow start because of COVID, that may favor the Owls here. So I'll take Florida Atlantic. Start 2-0. That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I'm on board. And then Middle. We're talking about bad football teams. Middle Tennessee plays FIU.
The Blue
FIU.
Raiders. 0-4.
Yeah, they're not good at football either, apparently. So I mean, my Army 42-0, Troy 47-14. They're giving up 36, but I mean the stat line is -4 for FIU, but I don't think they're great, but Middle Tennessee is awful, so
yeah,
we'll go with the Panthers.
I agree.
In a close one. Panthers in a close one.
I'll take FIU as well. Butch Davis, we know he has the coaching requisite. They did play Liberty really close, and they nearly won that game. I think it was 2 weeks ago that one played now. And you do get it back at home, and Middle Tennessee has had to do a lot of traveling already. And, part of you this season sees a team that goes 0-4, and you're like, man, they may give up now. And it's unfortunate, but the morale of these guys, I can't imagine where it is.
Right.
This season, more than any other, is going to be momentum swing-based. And
yeah.
Middle Tennessee, they got a rough start, and they almost beat Western Kentucky last week, but couldn't hang on. So, yeah, give me the Panthers.
Yeah. Actually, I say the Panthers cover. I say they win by 7.
Oh, all right.
I don't like to say because I got family members that live close to Middle Tennessee. One of them went to Middle Tennessee.
Okay.
But they're just not good. So FIU it is.
Okay. I'll take Middle Tennessee to cover, just to oppose.
Okay, good.
And that will wrap our preview. How about that? So going into week 5, we kind of start to see these teams take shape, which is nice. And for everyone that's been waiting to play, they finally get to do so.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. You get to see an unfamiliar opponent in Texas A&M this week. Florida State too, with Notre Dame. We're going to see them every probably 3 to 5 seasons going forward, but this was one of those again the shuffled back end that we didn't expect to play.
Yeah,
probably a lot of us were hoping I'm not hoping something went bad, but we're like, well, if we didn't play Notre Dame because of their COVID issues, that wouldn't be the worst thing, kind of deal.
Right.
But scheduled as of now, and so obviously wish the best for everybody. Thanks for the shout out for Bobby Bowden. Yeah, we're obviously keeping him in our prayers. I think as of Tuesday afternoon, he was rehospitalized a second time, but it seemed precautionary since he didn't show a lot of symptoms. But he is turning 91 next month, so it's he's at an age where it's harder to fight that kind of stuff off. He was having some leg issues earlier this season, and he seemed in good spirits, which he always is.
He's a guy that I've always respected. I mean, nothing but respect for the guy.
Awesome.
Seemed like just a general, wholesome, good person off the field. And if you, no matter who you are and who you root for, if you hate Bobby Bowden, there is something wrong with you.
Well, dadgummit, you're right.
Yeah, good call. I mean, he coached for the wrong team for the longest time, but he was a good dude. Good dude, yeah, and I just hope and pray for the best for him.
Yeah, appreciate that. Oh, man. Well, like I said, season's rolling on. Thank goodness. 2 months ago, we had no idea what to expect.
Right.
And and here we are. We're doing what we're passionate about. So anyway, how can the community reach out to us, Chris, with their thoughts on how the season's going so far and how it's going to play out?
FloridaFocusedPodcast.com. You go there, you will find all the old episodes. Hit up some the Fave Fives. We're gonna put another one out soon, hopefully. But you can go back and listen to some of that stuff and catch up and see where we are so far on the season and how maybe go to the preseason episodes and see so far if we are way off or not. But yeah, FloridaFocusedPodcast.com.
Absolutely. And a reminder, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/FloridaFocusPodcast. Thank you to all of our supporters, Jared, Ingram, and Tyler. We appreciate that. If you'd like to become a supporter, you can do so. Starting at $1 a month, you get extra episodes. So there are a lot of things that we have coming on the pipeline, and thank you to your support. That kind of allows us to do things like donate to the National Diaper Bank. So we had Eric Adelson on last week. We'll talk about that. And so just know that we're not taking all of that and just going having fun with it. We want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence, giving back to the community, especially in times like this. So if you feel so inclined, that's something we're going to continue to donate to as we can. So be sure to follow us on Twitter, and all the information you would need to give is there.
Yep.
All right. Well, any final thoughts to sum up this week, Chris, before we head out?
The only thing is that we're really getting into the meat of the season now, and I kind of know who Florida is. We kind of know who Florida State is, and it's interesting to see now that we got our feet a little bit what we're going to do from here on out. And I love it. I just, like you said, we didn't know what we're going to get, and now that we are talking about it on a week-to-week basis, I love it. I love talking college football.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. As always, well said, Chris. Thank you for your listen, for the community, and Chris, thank you for your time. This is Brandon saying Go Noles.
This is Chris. Go Gators.